We treat beginner energy like it has an expiration date. And I just don't think that's true. We romanticize beginnings, right? Like a new relationship. We're like, is he gonna text me, right? Like we're so excited. What am I gonna wear? And then it's like, a new project. We're like, ooh, what's this gonna be like? How's this gonna be like a new routine? We're super excited at the start line, a new season in life, a new business, a new career path, whatever. Like at the beginning, we're so excited, but we treat beginner energy like it has an expiration date. And I just don't think that's true. I think we can intentionally choose beginner energy and it can serve us in a massive way. It can help us build momentum. It can help us find more joy and excitement. It can help keep us with this fresh perspective that can be so incredibly valuable. And it can help us fall in love more with the process than what the process can produce. What's up? I'm so excited that you're here for today's episode, or maybe you are watching this on YouTube. If so, hello. If you didn't know, I put all of these Empower Her podcast episodes on YouTube on my channel at Keisha Get Merry. And also there's fun bonus videos. You can go subscribe if you just head over there at Keisha Get Merry. But regardless, I'm just excited about this topic because I like to pay attention to what's going on in my life, conversations that I'm having, questions that I'm getting asked. And when I notice a theme, I'll write it down in the notes section of my phone. And then when I have a couple examples, I'm like, oh gosh, this has come up a lot for me. This has to be a podcast episode. So what we're talking about today is beginner energy. Because here's the thing, we romanticize beginnings, right? Like a new relationship. We're like, is he gonna text me, right? Like we're so excited. What am I gonna wear? And then it's like, a new project. We're like, ooh, what's this gonna be like? How's this gonna be like a new routine? We're super excited at the start line, a new season in life, a new business, a new career path, whatever. Like at the beginning, we're so excited, but we treat beginner energy like it has an expiration date. And I just don't think that's true. I think we can intentionally choose beginner energy and it can serve us in a massive way. It can help us build momentum. It can help us find more joy and excitement. It can help keep us with this fresh perspective that can be so incredibly valuable. And it can help us fall in love more with the process than what the process can produce, which is one of my secret sauces in life and something I talk about often on this podcast, because sometimes we get so focused on where we want to go, we forget that the process, between where we are now and where we want to go, that part is a long time. That's a big part of the journey. And that's the part that's guaranteed. The end goal isn't guaranteed, either because we might change our mind on the journey or because the end goal doesn't happen. Because sometimes the things that we want, we don't get, right? So that's why I'm really big about falling in love with the process. And I think channeling beginner energy can be so, so helpful for us because it can make us more effective, more fulfilled, and more joyful as we go through life. So if you are like a beginner at the start line of something, and maybe you are seeing that as not the superpower that it is a superpower. And I'm going to explain to you why I think it is. But if you're seeing this as something that's a flaw, right? You're like, oh my gosh, I'm so new to this. Am I ever going to be good at this? Like, I feel like I suck right now. I'm a beginner. I'm going to help you reframe that. And if you're not a beginner and you feel like you're kind of going through the motions in certain aspects of your life, or you're just like running on autopilot, hopefully this episode will reignite some juice into you and get you excited again, because I really do think that we at any point in time can choose to channel that beginner energy. And it's just applicable in every single aspect. So we're going to dive into that. Okay. So where this first came up for me, I was in a Pilates class. So basically right now I'm doing strength training classes and then I'm doing Pilates reformer classes. And then every day my husband, Sina, and our son, Brody, and our dog, Lizzie, and I, we all walk every single morning before we start the workday. So that's kind of like what my workout routine is. Well, one week, AKA last week, I went to 2 Pilates classes and I had 2 very different instructors. One instructor was brand new, and one was probably like the most tenured instructor there. And I've been to her class many times. She just teaches at a time that I can go to. And it was so interesting how different my experience was. And for some reason, I was contrasting them in my head, thinking about this beginner energy. So let me set the scene here. The tenured instructor, you could tell that she has taught so many classes. She knows the cues. It just rolls off her tongue. You can tell she's not even thinking. It's almost as if she's on autopilot. But because she's on autopilot, she's lost a lot of her spark and zest. She's not like reading the room and altering the room. She's not really paying a ton of attention to everybody. Like, it just really seems like she's just like, I've done this. I know what I'm doing. I'm just here to lead the class. And then when the class is over, you guys all head home, right? And that's a little bit of like a personality thing, I think. But I do believe that really tenured instructors can also still have that beginner energy where they just seem like they're really excited to be there. Versus the beginner instructor who I hadn't seen teach a class before, I could pick up on the fact that she was really nervous. And if you've never been to a Pilates reformer class, like they're cueing the whole time. So you're not really talking to people around you. And I like that because I'm such an extrovert. And sometimes I just like to have like thoughts in my mind. I literally mapped out this entire podcast episode while doing a Pilates reformer class because I was thinking about this so much, where this new instructor, she was nervous because I just felt like maybe she didn't know exactly how to cue everything and she hadn't had a ton of reps, but she was so excited and she was so present. The difference in them, while yes, it was experience, the difference that I noticed the most and why I actually enjoyed the new instructor's class more is there was a lot of presence. And she wasn't taking herself too seriously, right? She was really just excited to be there. She knew what she was doing well enough to cue all of us, but like she was just reading the room a lot and like picking up on things. And it made me think also about how long I've been doing this podcast, where I have had so many people, like I get 50 plus pitches a week of people that want to be on the show because the show has such big reach. And, over the years, I've had a lot of people come on the show that have released new books. And often if they have a book that they're trying to get, as a New York Times bestselling book or whatever, and they want to go be on a bunch of podcasts and do a bunch of press, they have been coached by someone in the PR space. So I've noticed sometimes that some of those people are so coached that they speak like they're on autopilot, right? Like you ask them a question and it's like you can tell that they're not even registering that they're in a conversation. They're just spewing out what they've been taught to say. And I actually got to a point like at one stage in empowerHER where I was like, I don't want to have people on my show that are just repeating the same thing that they're doing on every single podcast. It's like so boring to interview. And I'm not saying that what they're saying isn't valuable, but it's just, you can tell their like heart's not in it. And then on the flip side, I've also seen people that they keep that beginner energy, even if they are on a press tour, where they can channel it. And they're like, this conversation is the first time that I'm talking about it. Even if it's not the first time that they've talked about it, you can just tell that they're like really reading me. They're thinking about the empowerHER community. They're catering their responses. It's like not the same thing that they said every single time. And it feels so different. Just how the Pilates instructors feel so different. So sometimes we tell ourselves our lack of experience is a hindrance, but I think sometimes your lack of reps can make you connect with people better. And your fresh perspective and your ability to like pick up on the vibe is so advantageous. And one more example. I had a group of website designers who hosted a retreat at one of our Airbnb properties. And I went over there to just do like a Q&A about business and stuff with them. And one of the website designers is a brand new website designer. And she was like, Keisha, I just feel like I'm so nervous when I'm pitching clients because I'm brand new to website design. And like, I just feel like they're going to know that I'm brand new and maybe they're not going to want to work with me because they want to work with someone that has like way more experience. And I was like, that's true in some cases, but I want you to reframe this to actually serve you of how this is your competitive advantage. Being new as a website designer, for the sake of this example, is so powerful because guess what? When you don't have a lot of clients, you have to crush it for your clients. Otherwise, you don't have a business, you don't have testimonials, and they get access to you, the founder of this company, like the main website designer. They don't get access to a junior website designer. Like when a company gets bigger and like maybe there's like the main website designer and like more junior people, like they get access to you and your business depends on them having a great experience with you. And when you don't have that many clients, you get to pour into those clients, right? To cater this back to even empowerHER. At the beginning of empowerHER podcast, when I didn't have that many people listening into the show, when someone would send me a DM, I would voice note back and forth with them about their life, where they're at. I would really get to know them. Some of those listeners, like you might be one of them, we have such strong relationships, 7 years later, because like I had so much more time to invest when there wasn't as many listeners. Now I will personally still respond to every single DM. So if you ever DM me about the podcast or you tag it, like that will be me. I never will have anyone in my DMs. Like I respond because I care so much about this community and I love doing it. But I don't have the bandwidth to send you 5-minute voice messages back and forth, for a long period of time because the volume is so much bigger. So it's like, looking at your newness and reframing it to seriously serve you and seeing even as a business owner, when you're a new business owner, how incredible that is for your clients. Like you have to look at that beginner energy and like your desire to make sure they have the best transformation. Like that's incredible. I think about this even right now with my real estate business, right? 1 month from now, 2 months from now, I'm going to have a lot more clients than I even have right now. But the clients that I do have that are actively looking for, Airbnb properties, whether it's here in the Colorado mountains or downtown metro area, I'm so invested in them because they are also going to be my testimonials, right? They're also going to be like when they go have these super successful Airbnbs that I helped them find, I helped them launch their business. They're so excited about it. Like they're going to go tell all of their friends. That's how I literally build my business, is from people's experience working with me. So especially at the beginning, when I have more time to invest in these people, like they get all of me, right? And then of course, like it's going to be like when you have more clients, you're going to have to figure out the juggle and your capacity will expand, et cetera. But I just really think sometimes people are so nervous about being on the start line. And I'm like, look at all the ways that this is so powerful for you. I was talking to another new agent who's like, gosh, I'm so nervous about, what I don't know. I'm like, let's focus on what you do know. What do you know? And what can you give your clients that other people that are so tenured, they've gone through the motions, they don't understand the fear of buying their first investment property, right? But you do because you're closer to the start line. And like, how can your level of experience, including if you are a beginner, how can that serve you? And if you're really tenured in something, how can you go back and truly understand what somebody's going through? For example, in March of 2020. See, I have a lot of examples because I've been thinking about this a lot, okay? March of 2020, I started a podcast course where I took 25 women a month from idea to launching their show. I've helped hundreds of women launch podcasts, monetize, grow, scale, all that, right? At the beginning, I had my first 25 women that went through that course and launched their show. I had to have all of them launch. I had to have them have the best experience. I answered all of their questions. I was like pouring so much into them because that's the start of what then led to the testimonials to do the next one, to do the next one, to do the next one, right? And as I got more removed from it, I couldn't understand as much as I could at the beginning how people feel when they're starting a show. Like right now, I've had this show for 7 years, right? It has been so fulfilling, so impactful, 13 million plus downloads. I've earned so much income from this business, had so many opportunities, met so many cool people, got to do so much cool stuff. It's honestly hard for me to tap back in to someone who's at the start line about to start their show, wondering if it's worth it, because I'm over here 7 years in, like, of course it's worth it. Like, I can't even understand how you're nervous to start. You have to start. Like, it's going to impact your life in such a big way. Like, look what it did for my life. You can do this too. I have so much experience that I have to remind myself consciously when I'm talking to someone who sends me a DM, for example, since I don't do those courses anymore, about starting a podcast. I have to remind myself, what did it feel like when you first started, Keish? Like, I have to be so intentional to give advice from that lens because I did feel different 7 years ago. I had no proof that it was going to work out. I was nervous and sweaty in weird places when I started my show, but now I'm so comfortable I can talk to you about anything. I can just sit here and riff with you because I have so many reps in. So I can't use my tenure to take my joy and excitement out of this, right? I can't look at the fact that I have so many reps as a podcaster and not pay attention to the feedback that I'm getting. Like, I care so much about this community, so I want to know what you're vibing with so I can create content that matters to you. If I lost that because I'm like, well, I'm so tenured, I've done this so many times, I lose my beginner energy, right? So I have to be so intentional about it. Hopefully some of these examples are resonating with you. I wanted to give you like a plethora of examples, but it applies to every aspect of our life, right? Your relationship. I have literally been with my husband since we were 19 years old. 17 years we've been together. The things that I loved about him at the beginning, I have to also remind myself of that sometimes. Or like, I love being married to him. He's my best friend. Like, we're raising this cute toddler. We're growing our family. We both get to be entrepreneurs together. We go through, it's awesome. Like, I literally love being married to my best friend. But I also consciously have to remind myself that, like, I chose to marry this guy, right? Like, how can I keep some of that spark and excitement? Because we know each other so well, right? Like, you probably can connect with this if you've been in a long relationship where you know each other so well, but like, I still want to keep things fresh and exciting. And like sometimes, especially right now, 19 weeks pregnant, I'm going to bed in this like oversized sweatshirt, hair on top of my head, not even cute underwear, like just, full skincare routine, like looking like a hot sack of potatoes. And I'm like, I'm not feeling like super cute sometimes, right? When I'm going to bed, I'm like the beginning of me, like energy wise, like, and how I would have showed up at the beginning of a relationship, I would have literally never worn that to bed, right? But I think some of it is also just like over time you get really comfortable. But I still want to channel that beginner energy sometimes. Like I want to get dressed up and look cute when we go on a date night. Like I want to surprise him with stuff. I want to still have that like beginner energy, although it's not full time. Because there's responsibilities in life and marriage, but I still want to keep that and infuse it into our relationship, right? So I'm sharing again that as another example because I just think that we have to remind ourselves that beginner energy doesn't have an expiration date. We can choose it at any point in time. And if right now you are a beginner, I want to use a business example for a second. I remember when I was building my first business, I was working full-time at Google and I was building this business in network marketing, partnering with a company called Beachbody. If you don't know Beachbody, they did like P90X and Insanity. I'm saying it like that. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm like, woo, 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 right? They created those programs. And I remember like I was so naive because I had never built a business and I was on the start line and there was a lot that I didn't know. And I could have chose to look at all that I didn't know. But instead, I just channeled and locked in on my excitement for being in that present moment. I didn't know what was coming. And that was absolutely incredible. And, Sarah Blakely, if you don't know who she is, she's the creator of Spanx. I'm sure you know Spanx. Like, if you got to know Spanx. But anyway, Sarah Blakely, she has this quote that I love. It says, "Don't be intimidated by what you don't know. That can be your greatest strength and ensure that you do things differently from everybody else." That's the gift of a beginner. Fresh perspective, right? At the start line, not knowing what's coming. You being naive is your superpower. You don't have the confidence yet, but by putting in these tiny little reps, celebrating tiny little things along the way, you're building momentum. And when I had that beginner energy, I intentionally chose to track small wins, right? Your first DM, your first yes, your first sale, your first proof that it was working. Beginner energy feeds on small wins, not big outcomes. But when you're tenured in something, you've been doing it for a really long time, you're looking for that next big win. And it takes a long time to get to a big win sometimes, especially if you have a big vision. So beginner energy means you channel the small wins. You can do that today with your fitness goals, in your relationships, in your business, in your career path. You can go back to some of these small micro wins. There are certain seasons where it's so important. I think of like postpartum. I remember I would put on a to-do list, shower after I showered, and then I would cross it off and I'd be like, yes, I'm crushing it, right? Things I wouldn't do before I had a baby, but like I needed to give myself those dopamine hits and those small wins. And the momentum that we get to create at the beginning, it dies if we don't notice what's working. If we stop celebrating micro progress, if we start measuring ourselves like experts too soon. Even in this real estate career path that I'm in, I'm working with investors that want to buy short-term rental properties. I know this space well. I've been an investor for 4 years. The more conversations I have with people, the more I'm like, let's go. And I have to remind myself, I am still a beginner at this. I'm still getting my, systems in place. I'm still at the start line. So even though I feel like I should be like, have already sold 100 million in the first 3 weeks as an agent, it's like, I have to remind myself to like look at this consistency of these tiny little wins to build up belief and confidence and to know that I'm on the right track. Being on the right track is so much more important than the speed on that track, right? Direction is more important than speed. And I think it's really valuable that you have a fresh perspective when you're new at something. And maybe you can even ask yourself, how would I look at this situation if I was brand new and I didn't know what I know now? Even in the corporation that you work in, perhaps. where it's like, if I came into this and I didn't know about Jim's dynamic and I didn't know about Sarah and HR and I didn't know about this relationship these two people are having, like, how would I look at this with fresh eyes, right? Because beginner energy is like why relationships feel electric when they start, right? A girlfriend of mine that I work out with multiple times per week, she's dating in her 30s. And like, I love talking about her matches and like her first dates and everything that's going on, because she's like, I wonder what I should text back to him. And I'm like, I haven't thought about what I should text back to my husband in so long, right? Like I haven't asked a girlfriend for feedback about texting my husband in probably like 17 years. So it's so fun. And she's got this like zest and spunk, and I love being around it. And it's so fun to think like, how can I channel some of that energy into my tenured relationship? Or, you know, when you have a new idea and you're at the start line with a business, it's like new ideas take off because you fuel them. You get excited about how good could this get? How far could this go? But when you've got some experience and it's been taking you longer than you thought, it's easy to say like, I'm so far away. This is taking longer than I thought. When instead you can go back to that beginner energy. You can say, why am I excited about this? Right? A lot of you that are building businesses on the side of your full-time jobs, reminding yourself, the default is you're already in your worst case scenario at this job that you don't want. So get excited about the process and the thing that you're building on the side. Nothing ends because it's been around too long. It ends when we stop bringing beginner energy to it. That zest, that spark, that spunk. How can you bring more of that into your life? Into your relationships, into your health goals, into your business goals, into your career. Like if you need help, send me a DM. This is literally like, I can spit fire ideas. Like I'm an idea machine. I'm such a visionary. I'm just like, pew, pew, pew. You could do this. You could do this. You could do this. So like, send me a DM. I'm happy to help you. But truly asking yourself this and understanding what a gift it is to be at the start line. If you're at the start line, like don't waste this opportunity. This is magic. Your naivety, it's your superpower. That start line where you don't know what's coming, like you don't know how hard it's going to get. Amazing. Buckle up, because you're going to start getting momentum and you're going to keep going. And if you've been really tenured in something or in a long relationship, asking yourself, like, how can I bring some of that spark back? What did I do at the beginning that I could add in now? How can I make this more fun again? You got one shot here. I want you to love it. I love you. I'm rooting for you. And I'll talk to you soon, girl.